It's time to go around the entire NFL and dip into some gridiron gravy.
Dip it and sip it.
And let's start with retirement news. Adam Thielen announced his retirement. The question is, why today? Why not 3 years ago?
Oh, he made an important catch in the game against the Texans the other night.
Did they win?
No, but it was an important catch.
Damn it. Will you be sad with no more Adam Thielen around?
Nah, but I know Sean and RJ loved him as a guest when he was at the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I thought he was going to retire that year. That was Arizona, and I thought he was really going to retire. I thought, this is it for Adam Thielen here. He's already starting to talk about potentially joining them on the show, like being a guest and being a potential host. He had a great personality, but it was interesting hearing them talk about, man, once Adam Thielen arrived, Aaron Rodgers felt so much more comfortable because he knew he could rely on these guys rather than these young receivers that he had to figure out. And I was like, that's Aaron Rodgers, dude. It's always somebody else's fault. Always.
Now, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, the man who's his offensive coordinator this season, Arthur Smith, has been requested to interview to be the new head coach of the Cardinals.
So he's only going to be head coach for bird teams, huh? He was the head coach for the Falcons already.
Oh.
And that didn't work out so well.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he did lead the offensive juggernaut that was the Pittsburgh Steelers this year.
Dude, now that I think about this.
They were 25th in yards this season. So, they were better in points. Actually, quite a bit better in points.
His offense, Kevin, Tennessee, 2019, 10th in points.
Okay.
Tennessee, 2020, 4th in points. From there, 26, 15, 26, 16, 25th. They're not good.
And that's what I never quite understand. Because I would always think, maybe I'm just naive about this, and maybe some of the better ones have already been taken up. Wouldn't you think, like most years, when you're like, hey, we're going to interview this offensive coordinator, you look at his track record, and it's like, his offense has been 2nd, 4th, and 1st. And you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty good.
Am I wrong? Arthur Smith have some family connected to the NFL too that might lend itself to something like that. I'll have to go back and revisit it, but I haven't really been a big fan of Arthur Smith. I thought it'd be really nice for him in Atlanta for a minute. He loves to run the football. Him with Tennessee, obviously, with Derrick Henry. I thought there would be some good things there, but I just don't love his offenses at all, man.
And by the way, there are reports going around that Mike Tomlin has been telling folks that he does not plan to coach next year. Take that for what you will.
Kevin, Arthur Smith began his NFL coaching career in 2007 when he became the defensive quality control coach for the then Washington Redskins. His father, FedEx founder Frederick Smith, was a minority owner of the team. Makes sense now, right?
Okay.
All right.
Still feel like my question would be, hey, how come you weren't good at coaching offense? And what makes you think that means you should get a promotion? Then if I was Arthur Smith, my retaliation question would be, why did you schedule this interview? That's probably not how it's going to go.
His dad gifted Arthur the job because Frederick felt like he was not there for his son enough growing up.
Hell yeah! I wish my dad would have done that. Wish he'd have been like, sorry I wasn't around. Here's $50,000 or a dope-ass job. Deal. But that didn't happen. And now he is dead. All right, let's talk about what he is. Let's talk about the Saints. You know what's really weird is right in that moment, somebody looked through the window. I don't know if it's they wanted to see the studio or it's because of the bold proclamation.
Yeah, and Aiden has it on full blast out there, too, so that those people can hear.
And Aiden's rocking a Moon Mammoth hat frequently. He knows what's up.
Is.
All right, Sean Payton with what I think is actually super helpful advice to the fan base. He said his one request for the Broncos fans going into the game this weekend: for years, we were conditioned to raise the noise level when they break the huddle. The noise level needs to be loudest when they go in to the huddle, the opposing team, that is. And I think that's a great idea. Try to mess them up right at the beginning to not even get any potential play calls out there.
Dude, I think he's dead on.
He's smart.
You just, because, have you ever seen the video of Matthew Stafford and he's in the huddle and Sean McVay's calling the play and he goes, okay, I got it. And he starts to say it, he goes like, hold on, he's still going. He's still, all right, cool. No, he's still going. The play's that long. And it's like, for those quarterbacks to get the play out, everybody's kind of waiting for their cue in there.
Right.
The offensive line's trying to get their protection. The receivers getting their routes. So, yes, any little mishap in that can fry a quarterback. You know how working a show sometimes can fry you.
And that's Matthew Stafford saying
exactly.
that, man.
So if you got a crowd that loud while you're trying to get information out before you even get to the play, yeah, dude, you're frying them all.
Now, is Fred Warner the toughest human in the NFL, possibly the toughest human walking the face of planet Earth? If you recall, on October 12th, he dislocated and fractured his right ankle, i.e. his foot was turned the other way. And he took another step to potentially being available for the NFC Championship game. They opened up his 21-day practice window, and that was one of the things that he mentioned, is potentially being available for that.
With that electrical substation right there, huh?
I mean, look, you brought that up. I have not done the research on that yet, but I am concerned. But can you imagine being like, hey, my foot got turned backwards. I'll see you in 3 months.
Swelling's
for more
gone,
football.
I'm back.
That's crazy.
I think it's, Super Bowl if they get there, all right? That's the where I personally think, I think this is more like of an inspiration thing than anything else. But I've watched videos of him. He looks great.
Yeah.
But I would be very surprised if he plays anytime before that.
By the way, since you just mentioned that, it is already working. CJ West, one of their defensive tackles, talked about him being listed as a limited participant yesterday. You could feel the energy. You could just feel when he's around. It was awesome. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, he's a different dude. Dude, can you imagine if you put him in that Cowboys defense? Right there in the middle of that sucker.
Yes, I am imagining that now.
Let's go find somebody like that.
All right, let's do it. All right, let's give you a couple more coaching updates. We said this would be the case, and the Eagles did, in fact, fire their offensive coordinator. I don't know if it was because of that little kid interview that you played, or like middle school kid or whatever.
In the C Block today, there might be another reason that he was fired.
Well, he's out. And then, per Tom Pelissero, the expectation is that Harbaugh will interview with the Giants, the Falcons, and the Titans by the end of the week. A couple of player updates for you. For the Bills, another player is down. Tyrell Shavers is out. And then we find out that he played with a torn ACL in the second half. So maybe I should put him up contention with Fred Warner as well for the toughest humans walking the face of planet Earth.
You can play with that with a torn ACL.
Yeah, but your leg is all wobbly.
It doesn't hurt anymore. Just whether or not it falls apart.
Yeah,
that's the question. Yeah,
that feels like a pretty big deal.
He was wearing tight pants because it was cold.
He had those compression pants on to make
they
it
were
work.
keeping everything tight.
And for the Denver Broncos, their defense gets a boost as Drake Greenlaw is, in fact, on track to play against the Bills. Now, everybody is watching the NFL. We already knew that. We had an executive on from the NFL to discuss that, but the numbers continue to be staggering. 49ers-Eagles draws 41 million viewers. That is the most watched wildcard game since 2022. Can you take a wild guess as to who was in that old wildcard game?
Were the Cowboys in it?
That would, of course, be the Dallas Cowboys against the 49ers, and that was the year that their wildcard game drew 10 million more viewers than any other wildcard game. But you think about it. It's taken 3 years for them to get back to that level, even with the ratings boost of the deal that they cut with Nielsen to get more accurate indications of who's watching their game.
Yeah, seems like Nielsen needs to really get on it, huh?
I mean, they've been doing it, but you can't match the power of the Cowboys. It's just we don't make the playoffs a lot. Now, somebody said
only when the NFL needs a boost. They're like, all right, let's go reach in the Cowboys drawer.
Yeah, we'll get the biggest boost of all time.
You don't want to overuse it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we haven't been there in 2 years. Use it!
Yeah.
All right, let's go to streaming. NFL, like I said, they're doing well across the board. A new record for streaming NFL has taken place. Somebody said the other day, if anybody actually saw the game on Prime Video. Look, if you don't want to pay for it, I get it, but that's the way the sports market has shifted.
Yeah.
And a lot of people watch that game. 31.6 million viewers. That is a 43% bump up over last year's Prime Video playoff game.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is. And it is now the most streamed NFL game of all time, with the previous record being the Lions-Vikings game on Netflix on Christmas Day at 27.5. This jumps up to 31.6. So just think about what we've already seen in the span of a couple of months. The highest streamed rating game of all time for the NFL. Now the highest wildcard game in 3 years. And then on Thanksgiving, you had the highest game in the history of the regular season, obliterating the previous record by, I think, like 15 million.
Man, NFL's doing all right then, huh?
Yeah.
Streaming's doing all right?
Seems
like that. I know Jerry is against it, but it seems like that push for a streamed Super Bowl is more likely.
And that's a hard sell against it when you're like, well, nobody watched it. 31 million people watch this wild card game streaming.
Yeah. And guess what? If we can get the NFL to agree, we could get 150 million. And you know what? We can maybe even get more than that.
Yeah, what would that cost?
And then on top of that, the revenue for Amazon or Netflix or whatever. Jeez, man.